Shalom everybody, we're going to do the blessing for the Omer. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sefirat haomer hayom yom 49. Blessed are you, Yehovah our Elohah, King of the universe, who's commanded us to count the Omer on this day, day 49.
Shalom, beloveds of the King. Praise Abba Yahuwah, as we are truly now at the last little bit of climbing that we're doing by coming, and we are looking at the chapter before the last chapter that we will do tomorrow. And praise Abba Yahuwah for this wonderful book. And the more we read this, the more exciting it becomes. And truly, tonight there's like a fear of Yahuwah that is within me to understand if he's going to be able to have a chapter that the last chapter was 46 verses and all on the destruction of Babel. And then he's going to have another chapter and he's going to have 64 verses again of the destruction of Babel. That is really making you understand Father's heart towards Babylon, and to understand what Father is trying to tell us about this end times and about this Babylon, and to understand right now we are in a time where Yeshua is the one that is, in Revelation chapter 5, he is the Lion of the tribe of Judah that has come and opened the seals. He is worthy to open that scroll. And to open that scroll, the seals are being opened, and that means that there's what needs to happen is what is happening at this point in time. And so tonight we're going to continue. We're going to read chapter 51. It is a long chapter, but praise Abba, he's going to give us the grace to be able to understand this deeper revelation. Thus said Yahuwah, see, I'm stirring up the spirit of a destroyer against Babel, against those who dwell in Lev, my opponents. So understand, who is the one that is raising up a destroyer? Abba Yahuwah says, I am stirring up the spirit of a destroyer. So he is the one who's going to bring the destroyer. And I shall send winnowers to Babel, who shall winnow her and empty her land, for they shall be against her all around in the day of evil. Let the archer draw his bow, and let him stand ready in his armor. Do not spare her young men. Pull all her army under the ban. So understand, this is very clear where the Father is saying that there's nothing going to be spared. He's the one who's going to be able to send forth this army. He's the one who's bringing forth these archers that are going to draw their bow. And there's nothing going to be spared because everything is going to come under the ban. And the slain shall fall in the land of the Kasdim, and the pierced through in her streets. For neither Israel nor Yehudah is widowed by his Elohah, Yahuwah of hosts, though their land has been filled with sin against the set-apart one of Israel. So understand, what is he saying? Neither Israel nor Yehudah is widowed, meaning that he is going to be the one, if need be, to be their husbandman, but they will not be widowed. So what does he say in Isaiah chapter 56? Is it in 56? Where he talks about, or is it 54? 54. Let's just go look at Isaiah 54. Who is the husbandman? Who is the husbandman in Isaiah chapter 54? In Isaiah chapter 54 it says from verse 4, do not fear, for you shall not be put to shame, nor hurt. You shall not be humiliated for the shame of your youth. You shall forget and not remember the reproach of your widowhood anymore. So understand, he's saying, you see, because when the Father came up against them in the land of Israel, remember there were many women that were widowed, and then he took them into Babel. But now he's saying there's not going to be any more that will be widowed. Why? Listen to what he says in verse 5. For your maker is your husband. Yahuwah of hosts is his name. And the set apart one of Israel is your redeemer. So who is going to redeem you out of the clutches of the enemy? That is the one that is going to bring destruction upon Babel. Understand, these are the end time things that are going to happen. These are the armies that are going to be able to run. But yet, who is the one who is going to redeem you? It says, for Yahuwah, your maker, is your husband. Yahuwah of hosts is his name. And the set apart one of Israel is your redeemer. He is called the allure of all the earth. For Yahuwah has called you like a woman, forsaken and grieved in spirit, like a wife of youth, when you were refused, declares Yahuwah, declares your allure. For a little while I have forsaken you, but with great compassion I gather you. So understand, he allowed them to go through this. That's why he's saying he allowed them to go through this destruction. And yes, the land of Israel was taken over by Babylon. But understand, he brings them back. And then he says, I am your husbandman, and I am the one that's going to have compassion on you, and I am the one who's going to gather you. So we continue to read in Jeremiah. Flee from the midst of Babel, and let each one save his life. Do not be cut off in her crookedness, for this is the time of the vengeance of Yahuwah, the recompense he is repaying her. So understand something. This is exactly what we read yesterday, and we read it in Revelation chapter 18 verses 4, and we keep going backwards and forwards in Revelation because this is exactly where we are. And how many times must the Father tell us? Because these chapters are going to keep speaking it in our ear so that we may hear. So his word will go forth, and he keeps telling you the same thing. I heard another voice from the heavens saying, come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins, and lest you receive of her plagues. This is what it says in Revelation 18 verse 4. And so he's saying we are to come out of Babel, come out of the destruction of what, because she's going to come under destruction. Babel was a golden cup in the hand of Yahuwah, making drunk all the earth. The nations drank of her wine. That is why the nations went mad. Oh, wow. Now look at that. The nations are going to go mad. So what is this? What is it that they're drinking from? They're drinking from the cup of this pharmakia that is giving them. And then they're going to be able to become like what? They're going to become these zombies that are going to go mad. They're going to lose their mind. Wow. Yeah, the Father's really showing us something. So let's look at Revelation chapter 14. Revelation chapter 14, it says, from verses, Revelation 14, verse 8. And another messenger followed, saying, Babel is fallen, that great city, because she has made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her whoring. So understand, this is a whore that is bringing the people to drink this wine of this intoxication, to be able to intoxicate us to not know the difference between the truth and between the lie. Why? Because what does Babel mean? Babel means confusion. Babel means mixing. We must understand what was the very first Babel. Remember, Nimrod built the Tower of Babel. And this Tower of Babel was to get them where? To get them, they wanted to be like Yahuwah. They wanted to reach the heavens. They wanted to be like Yahuwah. And this is exactly what these fallen angels are doing. They're making these scientists and these people want to become like Yahuwah. We don't want to get old. We don't want to die. We want to be able to build. We want to make the only person that was given the right to make mankind was Abba the Yahuwah, because he's the one who breathed life into human beings. But now we have the scientists creating hybrids. And this is now where the problem is coming in. And so we must understand, this is all the mixing seed. So it's the mixing seed of everything that's mixture. So you mix that which is truth with what is a lie. You mix that which is pure and holy with that which is compromise. We mix everything. And that is why at the moment they are wanting to mix this pharmakia stuff with the people to say, oh, but it's nothing wrong. That's why they've been giving us all these injections for so many years, to condition us to finally bring about the plan. Because the final one that's coming, the final one that's here, is the final one that has come to be able to alter our DNA so that we are no longer created in the image of Abba Yahuwah. And this is why you must understand, for him to have 2 chapters that's constantly against one place, you must understand how he feels about this. And so he says, Babel shall suddenly fall and be broken. Hell for her, take balm for her pain, if so be she might be healed. But we know she's not going to be healed. She's going to be utterly destroyed. We would have healed Babel, but she's not healed. Let us leave her, and each go to his own land. For her judgment reaches to the heavens, as it is lifted up to the clouds. Now, I want you to understand something here today. Do you know that word lifted up? So listen, it's going to be lifted up to the clouds. Why is it lifted up to the clouds? Do you know that word lifted up means, in the Hebrew, it's nasa. Nasa. So, to be lifted up, that word in the Hebrew is nasa. And what is Babylonian whole thing that they're busy with, the satellites and everything else in the heavens to reach up to the clouds, to be able to open the portals, to be able to let these fallen angels come. It's all got to do with NASA. You see? So I must understand, Father knows what he's speaking. Yahuwah has brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us relate to Zion, the work of Yahuwah our Lua. So you see, let us relate to Zion and bring forth. Yahuwah has brought forth our righteousness. So you see, he's the one who needs to bring forth our righteousness. And how did he bring forth our righteousness? He brought it forth through Yahushua, who was the righteous branch that came forth. And now he is working it in us, changing us and we are becoming those people that are righteous by coming back to his ways and coming back to his laws, coming back to his precepts and his ordinances. Polish the arrows, put on the shields. Yahuwah stirred up the spirit of the sovereigns of the Medes. For his plan is against Babel, to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of Yahuwah, the vengeance of his hekel, the vengeance of his tabernacle. And this is the same thing that we read in chapter 50, where he says, I am going to avenge for what you have done to my tabernacle. Lift up a banner, because remember, what happened with the king of Babel then when they went into Babylon? They went drinking from the holy set-apart things. Remember in Daniel, it talks about how they took those holy set-apart vessels of the Father, of the tabernacle, and they were using it in a common way. And the Father now he says, I'm going to take vengeance on what you have done. Lift up a banner on the walls of Babel. Strengthen the watch station and watchman. Prepare the ambush, for Yahuwah has both planned and done what he spoke concerning the inhabitants of Babel. Now, he is our banner. So lift up a banner. He is the banner. He is Yahuwah Nissi, our banner. And you who dwell upon many waters, great in treasures, your end has come, the treasure of your greedy gain. So if we look at Revelation 18, so remember we are between this and Revelation so that we can know that what they're talking about here. So he talks in about their wealth and their riches, and where he said you were greedy. You who dwell upon the waters, great treasures, your end has come, the measure of your greedy gain. Now listen to what it says in verse 3. Because all the nations have drank of the wine of the wrath of her whoring, and the sovereign of the earth have committed whoring with her, and the merchants of the earth have become rich through the power of her righteous living. So you see, these kings are becoming rich through what they are doing to the people. Bleeding them dry is basically what they are doing. Yahuwah of hosts has sworn by himself, I shall certainly fill you with men, as with locusts, and they shall lift up a shout against you. Now imagine when the locusts come. How many are there locusts? The locusts come, and it's going to fill you like men that are like locusts. And in Revelation chapter 9, if we have a look at Revelation chapter 9, he actually sends forth. Listen to what he sends forth in Revelation chapter 9, verses 7. And the locusts looked like horses prepared for battle, and on their heads were crowns like gold, and their faces were like the faces of men, and they had hair like women's hair, and their teeth were like lions' teeth, and they had breastplates like breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was like the sound of chariots of many horses running into battle. And they have tails like scorpions and stings, and in their tails is their authority to harm men 5 months. So you see, this is all part of the destruction that is going to come upon the earth. And he made the earth by his power. He established the world, by his wisdom, and stretched out the heavens by his understanding. So you see, who is going to stand against Abba Yahuwah? Who? That is why it's the Lion of the tribe of Yehudah. You see, it's not the gentle lamb. The Lamb has come. The Lamb has come. The Lamb has come, and he has come and taken away the sins of the world. And we have had all this time in order to be able to come back, repent, and turn back to him and turn back to his ways. And now what is he saying? Now he's saying, now the Lion of the tribe of Yehudah is going to come, and he's roaring with a mighty roar. And as he roars, he's prepared for battle. And he's the one that's going to come and smite the people of the earth. When he gives forth his voice, the waters in the heavens roar, and he makes vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He makes lightnings of the rain, and he brings the wind out of the treasuries. Now, have you ever been in a place when, believe me, that's where I was on the 1st of January last year, when the Father met us through a storm, and when that lightning hits, that the earth shakes, that it resonates within the core of your being. Believe me, it's mighty and powerful. And that's why the Israelites were so scared when they were up on Mount Sinai, when he called them up to Mount Sinai, because they heard the thunder and the lightning. And when he spoke, it was thunder and lightning and all this shofar blowing taking place. And these Israelites were petrified. But you see, Abba is displaying himself in all his glory, which is what is being spoken of here. All mankind has come to brutish, to know. Every smith has been put to shame by the carved image, for his molded image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. So you see, all these images of all these false gods that these religions are having to serve, and all these idolatrous things that we have served up until now, they're all going to fall. It's not going to stand. They are worthless, a work of mockery. In the time of their punishment, they perish. The portion of Yaakov is not like them, and he's the maker of all, and Israel is the tribe of his inheritance. Yahuwah of hosts is his name. So understand, he is going to raise up Israel, which is going to be made up of the 12 tribes, and there will be one house, and there will be the house of Israel, and that will be his inheritance, and they will inherit the land. And that is the ones that he's coming back for. You are my battle axe, weapons of battle, and you I shall break and with you I shall break nations in pieces, and with you I shall destroy reigns, and with you I shall break in pieces the horse and its rider, and with you I shall break in pieces the chariot and its rider, and with you I shall break in pieces man and woman, and with you I shall break in pieces old and young, and with you I shall break in pieces the young man and the maiden. So understand, there's great destruction. And with you I shall break in pieces the shepherd and his flock, and with you I shall break in pieces the farmer and his yoke of oxen, and with you I shall break in pieces governors and rulers, and I shall repay Babel and all the inhabitants of Chaldea for all the evil they have done in Zion before your eyes, declares Yahuwah. So you see, this isn't just what has happened. This is what is also going to happen. Because understand, this Babylon kingdom is destroying his people because it's wanting this people to bow. And like I said yesterday, there will be those that are going to have to understand. Let's look and see what it says in Revelation chapter 5. It's just coming up. Sorry, Revelation chapter 6. Listen to what it says, because there is going to be a destruction that is going to go forth. And in Revelation chapter 6, from verses 9, and it says, and he opened the fifth seal, and I saw under the slaughter place the beings of those having been slain for the word of Eluah and for the witness which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Master, set apart and true, until you judge and avenge our blood on those dwelling on the earth? So understand, there's those dwelling on the earth that is wanting to bring destruction upon his people. And there was given to each one a white robe, and they were told that they should rest a little while longer, until both the number of their fellow servants and their brothers would be killed as they were, was completed. So understand, Father's got his perfect number of those that are going to need to be able to die for their faith, and that is what is coming. But then he's going to avenge. He's going to avenge all of this. Because remember, what are they saying? When are you going to avenge us for what they have done to us on the earth? And this is exactly what he's going to do. And so he says, See, I am against you, O destroying mountain, who destroys all the earth, declares Yahuwah. And I shall stretch out my hand against you, and I shall roll you down from the rocks and make you a burnt mountain. And they shall not take from you a stone for a corner, nor a stone for a foundation, but you shall be a waste forever, declares Yahuwah. So if we go look now, and we see in Revelation chapter 18 again, if we look at Revelation chapter 18, verse 9, and the sovereigns of the earth who committed whoring and lived riotously with her, shall weep and mourn over her when they see the smoke of her burning. So the city is going to burn, and yeah, we are seeing it's going to burn. Lift up a banner in the land, blow a shofar amongst the nations, prepare the nations against her, call the reigns together against her, Ararat, Mini, Ashkenaz, appoint a commander against her, bring up horses like hairy locusts. So you see, who are those horses like hairy locusts? The one that we just read about in Revelation chapter 9. These are those hairy horses like locusts. So this is all talking about what's coming now in Revelation. It's all about the book of Revelation. Separate the nations against her with the sovereigns of the Medes, its governors and all its rulers, and the land of his rule, so that the land shakes and writhes in pain. For every plan of Yahuwah shall be established against Babel, to make the land of Babel a ruin without inhabitant. The mighty men of Babel have ceased to fight. They remained in their strongholds. Their might has failed. They became like women. They have burnt her dwelling places. The bars of her gates have been broken. Everything of what we read in 50, he's repeating again in 51. He's really putting his point across. And this is why I'm saying, if the Father does 2 chapters explaining the same thing, you need to understand the seriousness of the matter. One runner runs to meet another, and one reporter to meet another, to report to the sovereign of Babel that his city is taken on all sides. Now, do you see? I want you to see that. And one reporter meets another, and to report to the sovereign of Babel. Who is controlling the whole media at the moment? This is another thing that is part of Babylon, is the media. And the media reports what Babel tells them to report. The media tells you, look, tell them about this and make them fear and make them, stand and make them believe that things are worse than it is and all these things. And the media is absolutely and utterly controlling the people. And the people have bowed to the system because the media has caused them to fear. And the fords have been captured, and they have burnt the reeds with fire, and the soldiers are startled. For thus says Yahuwah of hosts, the Eloah of Israel, the daughter of Babel, is like the threshing floor at the time it is trodden, yet a little while, and the time of our harvest shall come. Nebuchadrezzar, the sovereign of Babel, has devoured us. He has crushed us. He has made us an empty vessel. He has swallowed us up like a monster. He has filled his stomach with my delicacies. He has driven us away. So you see, this is now Nebuchadrezzar, but understand this is going to be this anti-Messiah that's going to raise up in these last days. Remember, this Nebuchadrezzar was seen as being like a sovereign that was over how many nations? So this is how it's going to be with this anti-Messiah that's going to raise up, that's going to be like this man, that's going to look like he's going to bring peace, but it's not. It's a destructive system, and it's to lead the people astray. Let the violence down to me, and my flesh to be upon Babel, says the inhabitants of Zion. And let my blood be upon the inhabitants of Chaldea, says Jerusalem. Therefore, thus says Yahuwah, see, I'm pleading your case, and I shall take vengeance for you, and dry up her sea, and make her fountain dry. So understand, who is our avenger? Who is the one that is going to fight the battle on our behalf? Just like when the Israelites sat at the Red Sea. What did he say? I will fight for you, and you will hold your peace. And Babel shall become a heap, a habitation for jackals, an astonishment, a hissing without inhabitant. Together they roar like lions. They shall growl like lion cubs. In their heat I prepared their feasts, and I shall make them drunk, so that they rejoice and sleep in never-ending sleep and not awake, declares Yahuwah. So you see, they're going to be drunk with the wine of the fermentation of the wine that is given to them by the whore of Babylon. That's going to give them the wine, and then this wine is going to cause them to die. Because that's the poison that they're going to drink. They're drinking from this poison that's been given to them. More and more of this pharmakia stuff is being given, and the more they're drinking the poison, the more they're going to go to sleep, because they became dulled, they are blind, they are wretched, they are poor, they are totally cannot hear. And the more they're being deceived, the more they're falling into this trap. I shall bring them down like the lambs to the slaughter, like rams with male goats. Oh, how Sheshach has been captured. That's Babylon. The praise of all the earth been seized. How Babel has become a ruin among the nations. The sea has risen over Babel. She has been covered with the roaring of its waves. Now you must understand, this is prophetic, because what's going to happen? Those tsunami waves are going to come. And when those tsunami waves, even if you take America, if you just take New York, it's going to be totally destroyed by the water that's going to come. So water is going to come because whatever is going to fall from the sky, whatever's going to happen is eventually going to be able to bring about these tides and everything that's going to start. The water will claim back the land. And that is why it's talking about the sea is going to come and cover the land. Her cities have become a ruin, a dry land and a desert, a land where no one dwells, neither does Son of Man pass by it. And I shall punish Baal in Babel. So you see, he shall punish Baal, the Baal in Babel. So this Baal god, it's going to be punished. And I shall make him spew out what he has swallowed, and nations shall no longer stream to him. Even the wall of Babel shall fall. Come out of her midst, my people, and let everyone deliver his being from burning displeasure of Yahuwah. So you see, he's saying, come out of her, my people, so that you do not receive the burning displeasure of Yahuwah. And like we saw yesterday, and we go there again to 2 Corinthians chapter 6, because this is the same as what he says in 2 Corinthians chapter 6 from verses 17, and he says, come out from among them and separate. So we in 2 Corinthians chapter 6 from verses 17, come out from among them and be separate, says Yahuwah, and do not touch what is unclean, and I shall receive you, and I shall be a father to you, and you shall be sons and daughters to me, says Yahuwah Almighty. And lest your heart grow faint, and you fear the report heard in the land. For a report shall come 1 year, and after that in another year a report shall come, and a violence in the land, ruler against ruler. Now we're already seeing that going on, ruler against ruler, that there's already nation raising up against nation. And so this is all Yeshua spoke about. Nation shall rise against nation, and there will be wars and rumors of wars. Therefore, see, the days are coming, that I shall bring punishment on the carved images of Babel, and all her land shall be put to shame, and all her slain fall in her midst. So you see, it's all about worshipping idolatrous things. Everything about Babylon has everything to do with idolatry and mammon, fornication with the things of the world. That's why he says, do not love the world or anything in the world, or else the love of the Father is not in you. And the heavens and the earth and all that is in them shall shout for joy over Babel, for the ravagers shall come to her from the north, declares Yahuwah. As Babel is to fall for the slain of Israel, so Babel, the slain of all the earth, shall fall. You see, Babel, the slain of all the earth, shall fall. So this is the whole earth that is swayed by this religious systems and this monetary system and this worldly system and this one world religion and this one world the one world government, that we rather use that word so that they don't pick these things up, that is going to be able to fall. And you who have escaped the sword, go away. Do not stand still. Remember Yahuwah from afar, and let Jerusalem come to your heart. So you see, we have to, if there's still time to repent, now is the hour to bow. Now is the hour to repent. If you've escaped, you must repent. We are ashamed because we have heard the reproach. Shame has covered our faces, for strangers have come into the set-apart places of the house of Yahuwah. Therefore, see, the days are coming, declares Yahuwah, that I shall bring punishment on her carved images, while the wounded groan throughout her land. So do you understand? How many times has he said the same thing about carved images? What idols do we put for ourselves? All these mighty towers that they build up for themselves, all the empires that they have raised up for themselves. That is going to be a destruction that's going to come upon it all. Though Babel should mount up to the heavens and though she should make the heights of her strength inaccessible. Interesting how these tall buildings, hey, interesting how in all these major cities, especially like New York and these major cities with all their skyscrapers from all these businesses and everything. Interesting, hey. Ravages shall come to her from me, declares Yahuwah. Listen, a cry from Babel, a great destruction from the land of Kasdim, because Yahuwah is ravaging Babel, and shall silence her loud voice, and her waves shall roar like great waters, the noise of their voice shall resound, because the ravager has come against her, against Babel. Her mighty men shall be captured, every one of their bows shall be broken, for Yahuwah is Al of recompense. He shall certainly repay. And I shall make her rulers drunk, and her wise men, her governors, and her deputies, and her mighty men, and they shall sleep a lasting sleep, and not awake, declares the sovereign, whose name is Yahuwah of hosts. Remember how we read in Revelation, how they're going to drink from that cup, and they're going to become drunk with the cup of the abominations that is in Babylon. Thus says Yahuwah of hosts, the broad walls of Babel are completely demolished, and her high gates are burnt with fire, and people's labor in vain, and the nations weary themselves with fire. And we read that in Revelations 8 verses 9, where she's going to be destroyed and burned. And the word that Yirmiyahu the prophet commanded Syria, son of Neriah, son of Maaseiah, when he went with Sidkiyahu, the sovereign of Yehudah, to Babel in the 4th year of his reign, and Syria was quartermaster. So Yirmiyahu wrote in a book all the evil that would come upon Babel, all these words which have been written concerning Babel. And Yirmiyahu said to Syria, when you come to Babel and see it, and read all these words, then you shall say, O Yahuwah, you have spoken concerning this place to cut it off, so that none shall dwell in it, neither man nor beast, for it is a ruin forever. And it shall be, when you have ended reading this book, that you shall tie a stone to it and throw it into the midst of the Euphrates. That is something interesting. Wow, because from the river Euphrates is going to come those 4 beasts from the river Euphrates. And so now we read the last scripture. And shall say, so does Babel sink and not rise from the evil that I am bringing upon her, and they shall weary themselves. Thus far are the words of Yirmiyahu. And that is tied to Revelation 18 verse 21. So we look at Revelation 18 verses 21. And one mighty messenger picked up a stone like a great millstone and threw it into the sea, saying, with such a rush, the great city Babel shall be thrown down and shall not be found any more at all. Amen. And so shall it be. Now imagine this. Imagine this. We are reading Jeremiah that was written how long ago? Do you understand how important it is to be reading Jeremiah at this time? Because if we are not reading Jeremiah, we are not truly understanding the book of Revelation. But as we are reading Yirmiyahu, we are now getting the understanding of the fullness of the book of Revelation and the destruction that's going to come upon Babel. So praise Abba Yahuwah for his grace. And may you all enjoy your preparation day as we all prepare tomorrow for us to be able to come and celebrate this wonderful feast time tomorrow night of Shavuot. May you all have a blessed evening. Shalom, shalom, and Shabbat shalom to you all. Enjoy the rest of your Shabbat.